Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a video on my highlighter collection. I have it in an UGG box because it's like one of the sturdiest ones I have and I love them too much to destroy them. So there's a lot to get going here, so I just really want to jump into it. But first I do want to say I'm really sorry for being very absent on YouTube. The month of March wasn't really kind to me. I had the virus, then I had like a pink eye scare, and then I had a virus again. It's been like a complete struggle. And on top of that, I had a huge allergic reaction to an eye cream that I tried out. I had like huge swollen eyes. It looked like I had gotten like completely punched in the face and it was terrible. I had hives all over my face for like 2 weeks. It was not a good time, so really hadn't had a chance to film. But today, I can finally get back into it and I'm very excited for what this video is going to contain, so let's dive right in. Also, if you really enjoy this video, please don't be afraid to give it a big old thumbs up because it helps me out hugely, and subscribe if you haven't already. Next, I was thinking about doing a video on my contour palettes and powders along with my bronzers, so if that's something you're interested in seeing, leave it down below. And I do know that the Anastasia Beverly Hills Renaissance palette is very highly requested to do a tutorial with, so I will also be doing that very soon. I really do appreciate you all for sticking with me throughout my absence through the whole month of March because it's just been a disaster month for me, but I'm back and I'm better than ever, baby. So to start off, I'm going to show my liquid highlighters first because they're more of like travel size types and like I really don't have a lot of them because I don't use them often. And then we'll move into powders and do it like I did my eyeshadow palette one and start with smaller highlighters and then work our way to bigger ones. Also, throughout this video, I'm going to include the prices, probably in this corner if I can find them. Otherwise, some of them were probably limited edition items and I can't find the prices to, but I will have them linked here. So for starters, I have this Josie Maran Argan Enlighten Illuminizer. This came in like a pack with her Argan Enlightenment stick and also the powder. So it was like a 3-piece set and I really like it actually. This is like something that's nice to add to your foundation to give it a little more of a luminous finish if that's what you're into, or you could easily just use this as a highlighter on the cheekbones because it is very pearlescent and like vibrant. It's very reflective and it's more of a gold tone, which a lot of people are into, and I really do like gold tone highlights. So that's a really good product to get. They have the full size, you can just buy it on its own. So this is what the stick form looks like. This thinner line here is the stick form, and then this bigger patch here is the liquid formula. It's pretty much the same color, although the stick does look a little darker at different angles. But the stick would be great to pat on where you want to put your highlight and then layer it on with a powder highlight if you want to have like a really intense glow. Now to finish off this set of 3, this is the Argan Enlightenment Illuminizing Veil. This is not as pigmented as these, but it is still very pretty for those that want like a more natural highlight or just something a little more subtle. You can faintly see the powder highlight right here. It's the Illuminizing Veil. It's way less pigmented and bright than the other two, which are the cream and liquid formulas. But in person it does show up more than the camera is picking up, but it does have more glitter in it than it does like a sheen. So those 3, which you can't really see the third one right there, is the Josie Maran Argan Enlightenment ones. Next for the liquid highlighters, we have the BECCA Shimmering Skin Perfector Liquid in Opal. This one also came in a set with a little baby opal Shimmering Skin Perfector pressed highlighter, so I'm just going to show that one with it as well. So this one actually comes with a wand on it, which kind of looks like a concealer, which I guess you could use if you want like really shimmery under eyes. But this is also very pigmented. It kind of matches my skin tone. Opal is my favorite highlighter ever, and also just like the Argan Illuminizers by Josie Maran, this would be great to put as a liquid highlight first for a base for your highlight and then add a powder on top to make it super intense, especially if you paired this with the Opal highlighter, the pressed powder. And try to use this little one for traveling purposes because I feel like this packaging is less likely to shatter, because BECCA products are known to be very delicate when traveling and some people have like shattering issues. So this set, these two together, were 20 bucks, which is really not bad at all. I think this is perfect size for traveling. Excuse my super pale hands, the winter has not been kind to me. Right here is the pressed powder Opal and here is the liquid. As you guys know, if you watch my channel a lot, you know that Opal is my die-hard favorite highlighter ever made on this earth. It's very pigmented and it's perfect for my skin tone. I've never hit pan on any products because I have a really sickening obsession with makeup and I have way too much to go through anything. But that highlighter, I'm very close to hitting pan and it really makes me sad, but it also makes me excited to know that I love a product that much. So this set is perfect if you want to try out BECCA products. These two are pretty decent sizes. I mean, I've had this for maybe a year and I've barely made a dent in it, so these are amazing products. Next product has been raved about over the internet when it came out. It was a huge deal. These are the Cover FX Custom Enhancer Drops in the shade Moonlight. So this is what the bottle looks like. With the lights, you can't really see what the label looks like. So the lights are still very strong for the metallic packaging, but you can kind of see better what it looks like. It has the typical Cover FX packaging with the dropper that you can just drop it. I don't see how anyone in their life could ever go through this. Like, maybe if you're like a makeup artist and this is like the only highlight you use, I could maybe see you getting through it in like a few years. Because this is ridiculous. It's so crazy pigmented. This highlight is amazing. I know my best friend Megan uses it to add to her foundation to make it more glowy because she does have dry skin. And you could just use this to make your foundation look a little more brightening, or you can be a savage and put this on your face for highlight. This is also beautiful because it is a liquid to layer a powder on top of, but I don't see how you would need it because look at that. It's like metallic alien skin. It's insane. Like, let's just take a moment here and just stare at it. Huh. This is a masterpiece right here. I love these. Love them, love them, love them. So the last liquid highlighter that I have is the BECCA Shimmering Skin Perfector Liquid in Champagne Pop. Gotta give it to JACLYN Hill. There's my girl right there. This shade is amazing. I love it. It like broke the internet when it first came out. BECCA is honestly my go-to brand for highlighters. I guess I could have actually included my Backlight Priming Filter primer for this as well, but I totally didn't. It looks just like this. It's a primer. It's illuminizing. A lot of people use it. I'm sure you've seen it before. But I actually have all of the BECCA highlights except for the darker ones because I obviously couldn't use them for highlights because I have a pretty light skin tone. Put a little dab right there. I'm just going to blend it out. It's very pigmented as well. Leave it up to BECCA to always have amazing highlighters. This is also perfect to add into your foundation to make it a little more illuminizing for you, or as you can do with any liquid, as I've said multiple times already, is to put it where you want to put your highlight and then just put a powder on top of it, or just leave it. You don't have to set it with a powder because it's just stunning on its own. I love these liquid highlighters because I feel like they're more intense than powders, and especially if you set it with a powder, it's like a whole nother level of intensity. So this shade is beautiful as well. I love it. It's like more golden, champagne-y as the name suggests, and it's just very flattering. A lot of different skin tones can work with this. Okay, so that is it for my liquids. Moving on to powders now. I'm going to start with the smallest ones and work my way up to bigger ones. First, I'm going to start off with this SEPHORA highlight. I love this. It doesn't really look like much on camera, but it's amazing. It looks just like the Kat Von D white single shadow that's like iridescent. This is in the shade Stardust, and I don't think people talk about this one enough. This is amazing. I mean, I feel like cameras won't do it justice, but it's like a vanilla-y shade that like has like a yellow green tint to it when the light hits it just right. And maybe if I build it up a lot, the camera can pick it up. Let me see. It's not like a blinding highlight like the rest of these highlighters are, but it's more subtle, but it's really cool because it's like an iridescent shade. It's like a yellowy vanilla. I love this one, and it's super cheap. I actually believe that they're on sale on Sephora right now because not a lot of people know about them or like them, I guess. But I really like this one. There's one more shade which I do not have, but I actually intend to pick that one up. So next up we have two E.L.F. highlighters. These are the baked highlighters. I know a lot of people don't like them because they've just tried them straight out the gate, but once you get them, you need to either use your nail or like something sharp to scrape off the top layer, and then they are super pigmented. This is the shade Moonlit Pearls, which is the more golden vanilla-y shade, versus the shade Blushed Gems, which is more pinky. Blushed Gems, which is the pink one, is actually said to be a dupe for MAC Soft and Gentle, which I have, so when we get to MAC Soft and Gentle, I will swatch them next to each other and we can see if they are. But when you first buy them, they are pretty chalky. It's got like a film over it. Most baked products do. So once you like scrape off the top layer, you got some gold under there, my friend. And for this product to only be $3, it's like unreal. I love E.L.F. recently. They've really been stepping up their formulas, and their prices are just still tried and true, nice and cheap. This is the shade Moonlit Pearls that I'm swatching right here. Again, my hands are more pale than usual right now because I've been like exfoliating and washing my hands a lot. So it does look not as blinding as it usually does, but I love this highlight. I use it all the time. It's not like a basic one that I'll just like hide in my drawer because it's cheap. Sometimes I'll actually pick this one over my high-end ones. So this right here is Moonlit Pearls, and I'm going to swatch Blush Gems right next to it. So here is Blush Gems, and next to it is Moonlit Pearl. They're both very pigmented, and I love them. I think they're both beautiful formulas. They're very smooth once you scrape off that top layer, and they're very, very pigmented and shimmery for a $3 highlight. I mean, come on. Come on. Next up, we have a fan favorite, the Laura Geller Big Gelato Swirl Illuminator in Gilded Honey. This baby, I love this. It is very, very pigmented. But I do find that the formula is very stiff. It's like very hard, so I really have to like run my brush in there hard to get the pigmentation off. But I mean, it's just so soft to touch too though. Like it's very smooth. But hello. Hey pigment, what up though? Are you ready to see this swatch? I don't think you were ready. Look at that. My pale ass hands are not doing these justice. It's pissing me off. It is a little darker in person, just with all the lights on it. It does look a little lighter, but it is very pigmented and very reflective, and you can clearly see that. I love this one. This is so, so beautiful, and it's very, very complimenting on my skin tone at least, and people with more olive, warm skin tones. I feel like gold tones suit a lot more people because you can have like a cool complexion or a warm complexion and wear it. Whereas like very vanilla light white highlights can look very chalky on people that are like darker skin tones, and sometimes can make pale people look even lighter. So I do tend to go more for golden shades, and this one is perfect. It's so pigmented and so beautiful, and I love the packaging. It's very compact, it's a nice baked highlighter, and as the name suggests, it's a cute little swirl on it. I love it. Okay, next up we have a Vintage by Jessica Libeskind. I can't really pronounce that. This is the shade Rose Gold. I got this in one of my Boxy Charms. This is like a pink that like is more iridescent to like an orangey shade. It's very pretty, but it's way too dark for me to use as a highlight. Like I could use it for more of a blush topper. Here it doesn't really look that bad. But I remember when I first tried it on, it was like straight up pink on my face because it's like a very pigmented pinky color. Like this just looks too dark for me to use as a highlight. I like more cool tones and golden tones. I'm not that big of a fan on pinkier highlights, but I do like that this pink goes to like more of a golden orange shade. It's a very pretty color, but I just feel like it's more suitable for darker skin tones. I do like the formula of it. It's very smooth and feels very like wet kind of. It's a very nice pressed powder. Now the same brand as the one I just swatched. This is the Rose Quartz and Chocolate Diamond Highlighter Set. So this one has 2 highlighters in it, and these are so pretty. I love them. This is Chocolate Diamond, which I think is a really pretty name, and this is Rose Quartz. I do like that they have very like universal shades in here. Like I feel like the Chocolate Diamond isn't a shade you'll see often, and it's very nice for darker skin tones because it's more brown. Now I'm trying to get it in the light, so if you can see this outer swatch right here is Chocolate Diamond. If you can see what it's like not as iridescent, it's more of a brown shade, and then you have Rose Quartz next to it. I feel like these two are better shades for me to use than the Rose Gold one that I just swatched before. And they're very nice. They're very shimmery. They're not chunky and glittery, which I hate. I hate glittery and chunky highlights. But look at them. They're very pigmented, very iridescent, and I love these ones. I'm very happy to have gotten this also in a Boxy Charm. And next we have this little book. This is the Tartist Pro Glow To Go. This isn't just highlighters, but I figured there's highlighters in it that I use, so I should just include it. This smells like their Tarte Lit and Bloom palette and the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. It smells like really good cocoa. I love it. This top shade is Gleam. It's more of a pink shade, and then this one is Burst. It's more yellow, but I also feel like it's less of like a super bright highlighting shade, and it's more matte. I feel like it's not as like shimmery. So this is Gleam. It is a beautiful highlight, but it's not as like reflective. It's more of like a brightening highlighter shade. It's more like yellow, like under eye brightening you could probably get away with. And then this is Gleam. That one's more of a highlighter shade. As you can see, it's more wet looking, which I really like for highlights. I love this little palette. It's so tiny, but like these are pretty decent sizes for the highlighters. And this shade right here, Chisel, is like a really nice contour shade. I'm gonna try and swatch that over here so you can see it. It's like a very nice cool tone shade and really easy to blend out, as Tarte formulas usually are. I really like Tarte. I just tend to not enjoy their like limited edition sets. I feel like they're not as great of quality, but I feel like this palette is perfect for travel, again, because they're so tiny. It's nice and compact. It's got a cute little mirror in it. It's great. I love this one. Next up we have the L'Oreal True Match Lumi Powder Glow Illuminator in the shade. I don't know what shade this is because there's like no packaging on the bottom or anything that would tell me. This is very nice for a drugstore highlight, I feel. It's very creamy, very soft, and I do like, even though I don't use the brushes, how you pull this up and there's a nice mirror and then they have the brush down there. But I think it's a very nice quality mirror for the drugstore, and I love how they're so cute and like travel friendly. But anyway, this product is very nice and soft, and it's very pigmented. I really like this one. It's like a more cool toned pink highlight, and it's very reflective and it's very nice. I believe this product was around like $10 or $11, which is more expensive for the drugstore, but L'Oreal usually does have more expensive products. But I do believe that they're really great quality. I mean, this is like a really nice highlight shade. I like it a lot. I love their Lumi line. It's very nice and very luminous. Next we have the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighting Powder in Precious Petals. I did just include this highlighter in my Wet n Wild foundation review. It's a very nice highlighter, and I like that it's embossed with a flower. I think it's really cute. This is like a very odd color to me because it looks gold when you look straight at it, but if you like tilt it at the perfect angle, it looks more pink. Like right there it looks more pink and like peachy, but if you like tilt it forward it's more gold. It's very weird. It's like a shifter, but it's very nice, and I feel like it highlights really well. It comes up very pink when you swatch it, but it looks more gold in the pan. It doesn't really make sense to me, but it's a very nice powder, and it feels like creamy and like a nice non-chalky formula. I'm like maybe halfway through this video. Next I have the Makeup Revolution highlighter in Shimmer Brick Rose Gold. This is said to be a dupe for the Bobbi Brown Shimmer Bricks, which I don't really like because I feel like this section here is like way too dark for a highlight for me, but it's really great to be universal because you can just pick which strip you want to use, or you can swirl it all around and like use it as like a blush or a bronzer topper, which I think is really nice. They're very universal, but I feel like spending that much on a Bobbi Brown product for a product that I'm probably only going to use like 50% of, I don't think it's worth it. But this product, when I saw it in Ulta, I was like, yes girl, give it to me. If you look at this finger, you can see I just swiped it sideways and it looks very, very cool. It's like an ombre of them all together. Okay, so this is what the brick looks like, and I did it from lightest on this side to darkest, and then the bottom sideways stripe, I ran my finger up and down and mixed them all together and showed what it would look like if you went all together through it. So this is like very dark over here. This would be great for darker skin complexions, or you could maybe use it for like a shimmery bronzer topper. And then as you move more, you get like a copper shade, a more pink shade, and then you have this really nice vanilla shade, which I really like. Shocker. But I think it's a really nice highlighting Shimmer Brick palette. It's a very nice dupe, I feel. I've never really used the Shimmer Bricks because, like I said before, I couldn't justify spending that much, but I have swatched them in store. And I feel like this formula is really nice too. It's very creamy, it's very soft, it doesn't feel chalky like most drugstore formulas do. And Makeup Revolution is known for making dupes of other products, so I'm very happy with this purchase. Very nice. Next up we have the Mary Illuminizer by The Balm. Kohl's carries The Balm products, which is great because you can use, like when you get those 30% off coupons, you can use it on the cosmetics as well. They also have Lorac and I believe Pure and Cargo and like maybe 2 or 3 other brands. I know they sell Real Techniques too. So that's just something to keep in mind. This highlight was like a huge deal a few years ago. It was like one of the most blinding highlights they sold, so I was like, girl, snatch that right up. I really like this. This is so pretty. It's very, very reflective, as everyone flipped out about it originally, and it's very creamy. It's a very nice formula. I have used this so many times and it doesn't even look like it. Like, there's barely even a dent. You can maybe see where I just swirled my finger in it because I pressed a little hard to get a nice swatch. It's very nice. It's very creamy. It's not chalky or powdery. It's very pigmented as well. It's very nice and reflective. It's really nice for lighter skin tones. It's more like a yellow vanilla shade, and I really like those. Very pigmented, and I love it. Next up, I have one of the Anastasia Beverly Hills highlights that she came out with a while ago. This is the Riviera Illuminator. This is the more pink shade. I do like how she has like this weird, like tribal-y design in it. It's really cool. I like it. So this is kind of dark, I feel like, for my skin tone, but I do think it's really complimentary anyway because it's so reflective. These are definitely harder than her current like illuminating glow palettes. As you can see here, it's like a silvery pink, but you can see that it's a little dark for a highlight for my skin tone, especially like my very pale hands right now. Like right at that angle, you can see it's pretty dark, but if you get it at the right angle, it's very light and shimmery, like right there. It's a very pretty highlight. It's very nice for darker skin tones, but it can also be used on light skin tones as well, and it would be a very, very pretty eyeshadow too. Or a nice inner corner highlight for a nice pinky look. I like this. Okay, now moving on to MAC Soft and Gentle. I do have the newer packaging of it. This is like one of the most popular shades. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but you can see there's like more shimmery swirls in it. And I feel like it looks darker in the pan than it looks when you swatch it. It's a very nice pink, but it's like a very cool toned pink, and it's like very flattering. This was my first ever highlight purchase, so it holds a special place in my heart. I feel like it's very pigmented. I really could not stop wearing this. Like I would put this all over my face when I first bought it, and I have oily skin, so it's a very bad idea. But I just fell so in love with this product. It's so creamy and it lasts forever. It's not like pressed in a pan. It's more of a bubble, and you can see how much I've used of it because of the dent in it. So I'm not sure if it's baked. I would not be surprised if it was, because usually when products are bubbled like that, it means that they're baked. But I really like it regardless of how it's made. It's magical sorcery. Definitely worth it. Now I'm going to compare the E.L.F. Blushed Gems highlighter with MAC Soft and Gentle. So first we'll compare the pans. Obviously you can see that the E.L.F. one is a lot smaller, but they do look very similar. I feel like the E.L.F. one looks a little darker and more pinky, while the Soft and Gentle looks a little more light pink with like a little bit of like silver vanilla-y shades in it. So I do think they are very close. So let's see the swatches. Okay, so they do look very similar. This shade here is the E.L.F. Blush Gems, and this one here is Soft and Gentle. Blush Gems does look a little more pink, but you know, especially if you go like that, you can see that the Blush Gems is a lot darker than Soft and Gentle. But if you're balling on a budget and you really need to get something cheaper, I definitely think Blush Gems is a really close dupe for Soft and Gentle. It's very nice, and it's a really nice formula as long as you just scrape off the top layer. And for only $3 to get a highlighter that's very comparable to this MAC one, which I believe is around like $32 or something like that, that's definitely an amazing dupe. It's pretty close to being a dupe. So next up we have BECCA highlighters. I do have one more, but I forgot it at my house because I don't like it, sadly enough. The shade that I'm missing is Moonstone. I feel like that's very chalky, and it's like barely even a highlight. I feel like I could use it to set my under eyes more as like a banana-y powder. Just didn't wow me, didn't make me happy or anything, so that one just kind of sits there and rots away. I tried to give it to my mom, but she's not into highlighters, so I'm going to start with the lightest shade. This caused like mayhem when JACLYN Hill came out with her, I forget what it was called, but it had 3 highlighters in it. It was Champagne Pop, Pearl, and oh my god, maybe like a rose gold or something. It was like more pink. If I can find a picture, I'll put it up here. I can't remember what it was called, but when this came out like super pale, people were like, yes, finally, like a white highlight light enough for our skin tone. And of course when I saw it, I was like, damn, that would really be blinding on me because it's like stark white. I love this. This is like perfect for an inner corner highlight, brow bone highlight, or if I want to just add this on top of like the highest points of my cheeks on top of another highlight, it's amaze balls. Look at that. That is insane for a highlighter. People were really upset when they saw the palette and they were like, oh, it's probably not going to be like a permanent thing, but they finally made it permanent, and I'm so glad they did. I like picked it up ASAP because I didn't get the palette because I didn't think I would use the more pinky bronze shade, if I'm remembering it correctly. This shade gives you life. If you're super pale and you need a blinding highlight, this will like eat your face. It is so blinding. I love this one. I'm gonna leave that swatch there and just swatch the other 2 around it. Next we have my tried and true Opal. As you can see, the pan is approaching, my friends, and I'm really depressed about it. I mean, there's still like a huge amount of product in here, so it's not like I'm gonna hit pan and be like, garbage, buy another one, because this could probably last me like a few more years. I just want to like marry it. It makes me so happy. Look at that baby right there. That's my love. I love it. I love Opal. It's way more toned down, clearly, than Pearl. I mean, everything that I own is more toned down than that one. But it is still very flattering, very, very, very pigmented. I just love BECCA highlights. They're so creamy, but the one thing that worries me is that they are very soft, so people say that there's shatter a lot. I, thankfully, knock on wood, haven't had mine shatter yet, so I've been very, very careful with them. Last but not least, y'all already know that I own Champagne Pop. I bought 3 of them when it came out because I thought it was supposed to stay limited edition. I know a lot of people have problems with BECCA because of their whole JACLYN Hill things where they're like, limited edition, you'll never see it again. And that boom, it pops up again. Limited edition, you'll never see it again. And then they make it permanent. Like, I also have the face palette that she came out with last year. And I remember them saying that Prosecco Pop was only limited to that. And then they re-released it just recently. I just saw it at Sephora as like its own individual pressed highlighter. So I don't know what they're doing. They're really pissing a lot of people off, but I don't mind anyway. I like when products are permanent so I don't have to keep splurging and buying like 5 at a time to make sure I don't run out. But Champagne Pop like ate the internet when it came out. Like, people lost their minds. It's like a more yellow champagne color as it suggests. This is amazing. I love this powder. It is so pretty, so reflective. I mean, as you can see, the BECCA highlighters, I think they're showing up the best with this lighting, and it's just so reflective. I love BECCA highlights. They're like my favorite ever, even though I have already said that like 45 times in my life. That's okay because I just really love them. Look at that. I feel like the Tin Man with this crazy hand. I got a highlighter all over me right now. Next up, I got a KYLIGHTER. I'm really not that big of a fan of this packaging. Like, I mean, I like that it's hard cardboard, it's very sturdy, it's got a mirror in it, but I just feel like she could have done better with this. Like, I gotta like get it. It's shimmery, it's like a gloss package with matte KYLIE in it. So like, you have to get it in the light to see it, otherwise you can't even tell that it says KYLIE in it, which kind of bothers me, but whatever. Nevertheless, even though it is cardboard, it feels very heavy and nice and expensive, and it's nice and hard. I'm not afraid of it breaking, and I love it. I love this one. Like, it's not as reflective as my other ones. This is in the shade French Vanilla. It has a nice mirror in it, and she does have the typical KYLIE logo dripping stuff embossed in it. It's not as reflective as my other ones. This is the highlight that I'm wearing today. It is very nice and like a toned down kind of in your face highlight. I mean, if that makes any sense. It's nice, but I feel like when you touch it, it feels kind of hard and like a little stiff, just like the Laura Geller Gilded Honey. But as we've seen already, that doesn't really mean anything for pigmentation. It feels like smooth, but it's like feels hard. Like sometimes with the BECCA ones, you get a little powder kick up because it's so soft and crumbly. But this one, I just feel like it's very hard. But it's very pigmented as well. Like, it's not super over the top pigmented, but it's very nice. I feel like the name is very fitting because French Vanilla Ice Cream is usually like a little bit yellowy and like still white too. So this is like a very nice shade. I love this one. I love that it matches like how I like cool tone, bright highlights and like a little bit of gold. It's the perfect shade. I'm so happy I was able to pick it up. Even though people give KYLIE a lot of shit, this is a nice highlighter. We're getting there, guys. We're getting there. I only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more. 6 more and then I'm done. We have the E.L.F. Illuminating Palette. I've heard some pretty disappointing reviews about it, and I love the giant mirror in it. It's a pretty nice quality mirror too. I picked it up myself because I figured I don't really like listening to other people's reviews really. I like to make my own opinions on them, but I can see why people were disappointed. I mean, it looks nice and they feel creamy, but again, see how much powder there is? There's like a lot of kick up and it's very powdery and like pretty chalky. It just looks like a slightly sheen matte setting under eye powder. That was this lightest shade here. Now we'll go with the one next to it, the pinkier one. They just look like brightening matte setting powders to me. As I already said, I do love their baked highlighters, but I feel like these ones are just, they're more matte brightening powders, I feel like. They do have a little bit of a sheen. If you're not into something super crazy bright like everyone's into like recently, that is pretty nice, and it's only $6 for this big palette. I mean, it's like a pretty decent size with a nice giant mirror in it, but I would prefer them to be more luminous. This would be perfect for putting a little bit on your brush to kick away bake with under your eyes, because it would give a little bit more of a brightening effect with that. You could also just use it as like a very slight brow bone highlight if you don't want anything too crazy, but you do want it to be highlighted. So it is a pretty nice palette if you don't mind like solely relying on it to be your highlighter. If you have other highlighters and you just want to use this to accent other things and make it a little more toned down, be great for like a work day if you're going very light makeup, not like full glam. I think it does have a really good purpose if you use it in different ways, but for people that expect it to be like super in your face, it's gonna really disappoint you. Regardless, you can still use it for plenty of other things. I do think it's a great palette. I just feel like the colors were not what I was expecting. Next up, I have 2 of the Wet n Wild highlights, the bigger ones. I love these. I don't know if I've said it before, but I'm obsessed with them. This more pinky one is in the shade I'll Have a Cosmo. First off, these are gigantic and they're like $5 or $6, and the formula is amazing and they're so pigmented. They are so soft and like buttery, and I just love them. And it's just, I love the cute designs with like all the swirls in it, and they are very flattering on the skin. This right here is the pink one. This is called I'll Have a Cosmo, and I love that Wet n Wild is cruelty free, which is my favorite thing about them. But this one right here gives me life. This is the shade Boozy Brunch. It is a beautiful gold, and it's got like pink and like a little bit of brown in it, but it doesn't really affect it. It still comes out like straight up gold. It's so pretty. This one actually reminds me of the Gilded Honey, but I feel like it's a little bit of a lighter tone. It's more closely, now that I'm looking at it, more closely related to like French Vanilla by KYLIE, but they're such beautiful formulas. This lighter one here, the golden tone, is Boozy Brunch, and then the pinkier one is I'll Have a Cosmo. They are very nice, very flattering on the skin. They are just such great quality for such a great price. My dog never lets me film alone, and he's stretching. I'll Have a Cosmo and Boozy Brunch. So beautiful. I love them, and they're so gigantic, which just makes me love them even more. This one is Boozy Brunch, and this one is I'll Have a Cosmo. They're so pretty and huge. Okay, I don't know if I would consider this a highlighting palette, but it's got a highlighter in it, so. This is by Maybelline New York. It's their Master Contour Palette in the shade Medium to Deep. It looks like this, and it comes with this brush, which is like totally a perfect shape if you like to contour your nose, but I don't. So first off, I want to start by saying I love this palette. This contour shade is perfect. It's very nice and cool toned. It's not super warm, and it's not super cool. It's like a really nice shade. And this blush is just like that highlighter. I actually want to swatch them next to each other. This blush is like a pink, like iridescent shade. Oh, it's way more pink than the other one. But this kind of reminds me of that pink highlighter I was just telling you guys about, the vintage one that is too pink for my skin tone. But it's like very pretty as a blush. It's like pink that goes to like a golden tone. It's very nice. Just wanted to throw that out there because it is pretty illuminating too. So I guess if you're a darker skin tone, you can actually use that as a highlight. So the contour, blush, and highlight powder don't have their own individual names. They're just in the medium to deep palette. But this highlight's actually really nice for how much this palette is. I don't remember how much the palette is, but I do know that it was like a little bit more expensive for drugstore makeup because it is Maybelline and it's like an entire palette. It's not just the highlight. It's a very nice shade. It's very nice and neutral. It's very pigmented and it's nice and reflective. So I do really like that shade. Next up we have the Tarte Skin Twinkle Lighting Palette. This one unfortunately doesn't smell like, it's got a big mirror. It doesn't smell like the cocoa powder that I love oh so very much, but they are very nice highlighters anyway. And it does have a nice big mirror in it. And I do love this packaging on the outside. It's like very pretty, it gives me like ocean vibes. So it comes with these 3 shades. They are the shade Sunlight, Filtered Light, and Moonlight. This one in the middle is more, I don't know if you can really hear it. Let's see. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's very dry. And as you can see how it comes up on my finger, It's very silky, like it feels like a silica powder. It's not illuminating really. You could pretty much just use it to set your under eyes. So it's like a nice, more matte banana powder. This shade here is Sunlight, and this one on the top is Moonlight. This one is a more darker, like pink shade, and this one's a lighter, more vanilla shade. Let's swatch them. They are very creamy and very smooth. This one right here is Sunlight, and this one over here is Moonlight. They are nice and reflective and pigmented. Again, with the pink and more yellow tones. People make palettes, they usually contain both of them because they're more universal that way. But they're very nice and reflective, and I love Tarte shadows and their formulas, as I said before. Their powders and highlighters are very nice. So these ones are no different. I love them. I'm on to the last one. Finally. This is the BECCA Cosmetics and JACLYN Hill Champagne Collection Face Palette. This is not just highlighters, it does have blushes in it as well. The packaging is so pretty. I love it with the white with the gold. So cute. Love it. And the back is like a reflected in gold. So when you open it up, you have a gigantic mirror, and it's a very nice quality mirror. It's not like a warped one at all. It's so nice. This palette was so pretty when it came out. I remember when she Snapchatted at the release party saying that a few will be available on the Sephora app, and I was like, girl, got it. And I told like 5 different people, and we ordered it so fast. I was so excited. So we got it before it released, which was amazing. But these 2 shades are awesome, and I really love the blushes in here as well. You have Rosé Spritz, Amaretto, Pamplemousse for the blushes, and you have Champagne Pop and Prosecco Pop as the highlighters. I love that the highlighters are bigger because they kind of remind me of like getting an entire full-size BECCA pan. Let's actually compare them now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, so here's my Champagne Pop by BECCA. It is a little bit bigger than the palette, but still, this is like a giant size palette with a huge amount of highlighter in it. So I'm not mad about that. I didn't really care that there was also a Champagne Pop in here because, like I said, I love that highlighter. And I really, really, really like this Prosecco Pop, which, as I said before, I just saw it in my Sephora as its own individual highlighter, which I gotta pick up ASAP because I have a problem. But let's swatch these 2. First one is going to be Prosecco Pop, which is more golden. It's like a straight gold highlighter. Like that's what she wanted. It's very nice yellow gold. It's very pigmented and very reflective, as per usual with BECCA highlighters. And then here is Champagne Pop right next to it, which is more orangey peach, champagne-y. It's also a little more vanilla. Prosecco Pop on the outside here is definitely more golden, as you can see. And then there's Champagne Pop next to it, which is a lot lighter. But they are very, very beautiful. And I love this palette because I think it's so nice to travel with, because you have highlighters and blushes, and you have more than one blush, so it's really nice to not have to bring anything else. Although it is a pretty big palette, but I feel like the powders in here are a little bit different in formula than the BECCA ones, the individual ones. I feel like they're a little harder, which kind of is better for me anyway, because I feel like they won't break and crumble as easily when you're traveling with it. Just because I'm a little skeptical, I do want to actually swatch Champagne Pop in the individual form next to Champagne Pop from the face palette. Just because I remember people saying that the formula was different. They do look pretty much the same to me. I don't know, can you guys tell a difference where one ends and where the next one begins? I think it's pretty much the same. And that completes this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed all of my highlighters. I hope my commentary helped you, just in case you're trying to buy new highlighters and you were wondering what they looked like next to the other ones and how they swatched and whatever. So I really hope you enjoy this. I love highlighters. It's my second favorite thing to buy. I like to buy eyeshadow palettes the most, then highlighters, and then contour and bronzers, which will be in my next video. If you guys are interested in seeing that, give it a thumbs up if you do, and leave comments down below. Next, I will be filming my Anastasia Beverly Hills Renaissance palette with a tutorial, because that is very highly suggested. Let me know which kind of way you want me to go with it, if you want it to be like a dark and like bright one with like the reds and stuff, or if you want it to be more neutral with the shimmery shades. Let me know down below and I will film that one next. Again, thank you so much for watching, and please, please, please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys!